Hello everyone, I'm Conquering History Games, and welcome to Kaiserreich Progress Report 76, the League of 8 Provinces, where we're going to be going into more detail about how they play. Spoilers for the China update, so if you want to be taken by surprise when you open up 0.10 or whatever it is, whatever patch that China is included in, then you've been warned. Alright, first thing, a little bit of review of how the League of 8 Provinces gets started. This goes back to the second Zhili-Fengtian War that happens in 1925, and Wu Peifu, the Jade Marshal, is its main leader. However, in 1925, when he loses control of Beijing, the leadership scatters, and while they still control areas of south and eastern China, Wu goes to a meeting in Wuhan and asks the warlords to help him retake the north. Now, while some agree to help them, 5 provinces rally around Sun Chuanfang, who is in control of Nanjing and Shanghai, which are an important political and economic sector, respectively. So this creates the League of 5 Provinces, which is something that actually existed in real life. Sun Chuanfang also gets a little bit more clout because he defeats a Fengtian offensive that's coming south from Shandong. So, there is the possibility that at this moment Sun Chuanfang could have become the leader of the Zili clique, but then the Northern Expedition of 1926, which is what we're looking at right now, happens. When the KMT comes north to attempt to defeat, unite China. So it fails. But if you go back and watch some of the other progress reports I've gone over in the Minor Monday reports, you will remember that at the end of this whole Northern Expedition series of events, Wu Peifu is once again in control of Beijing, and he is him and the Qing are considered to be the official central government. So, Wu Peifu then fights in the north against Fengtian, and meanwhile, the League of 5 Provinces integrates Hunan, Guangdong, and Guangxi with some German aid, and then they become the League of 8 Provinces. Now going up to the next picture. So then this is the situation in 1928. Doesn't really show the legation cities, but this is basically what it was like. And so China finally goes into a freeze. Fengtian and the Zhili stop fighting. And so you have a situation where there's now the northern Zhili under Wu that control Beijing, and Sun controls the southern Zhili, which are the League of 8 Provinces. So in many ways, the League it continues to function the way it did. They are resisting central government control, so even though Sun helped them create this situation where Wu is now in control of the central government again, they actually resist aforementioned central government. So, without getting into too much detail, the League is a super-regional but still subnational government, and it is structured in the way it is so that Sun can easily control it. So, Wu Peifu, though he's in Beijing, he cannot easily control the south. And that's why Sun was able to, mostly because of the distance, but that's why Sun himself ends up taking control of Guangxi, Guangdong, and Hunan. By the way, Guangdong is called Liangguang in Kaiserreich because Guangxi and Guangdong are going to break away together when that does happen. So they'll be together called Liangguang, which I think means 2 Guangs. So you have this clear division between the northern clique and the southern clique of the Zhili. So Wu says that Sun is his subordinate, and Sun recognizes the Qing as the national government. There is a degree of autonomy there. Now, where significant differences begin to be seen is that Wu does not want to concede to foreign powers, which Sun is perfectly happy to do. So he begins to become increasingly autonomous and breaking away from the Qing by giving a series of concessions to the Germans without the Qing's approval. So they start leasing out these coastal cities, and this is what creates the AOG. Now this angers Wu, but he's not able to move against the AOG, meaning the Germans, and Sun together. He knows he doesn't have the resources to do it. And then in return, the Germans also continue to invest more into the League, which continues to strengthen Sun Fucheng's position. So, to be totally clear, again, the League of Eight Provinces is a subnational government. It recognizes Wu Peifu in Beijing as the legitimate government. They are a member of the Zili clique, but it's a southern faction. And in regards to the AOG, they do give concessions in the form of coastal cities. In return, the League of Eight Provinces receives investments. And so, while the AOG has economic leverage in the League of Eight Provinces, the League of Eight Provinces is not an AOG puppet. Let me repeat that again. League of Eight Provinces is not an AOG puppet. Okay, we got that? Let's move on. Okay, now this enormous picture is the situation of the League of Eight Provinces in 1936. There's an awful lot to go over here. Of course, you have Sun Chuanfang in charge. The smiling tiger, his greatest strength lies in careful cultivation of personal relationships, as he is a master of navigating local webs of influence and intrigue, leveraging everyone from old army friends to wealthy bankers to foreign dignitaries. In this last category in particular, that has proven to be his best asset, and his German connections have become indispensable. However, his nickname also carries sinister undertones beneath a mask of smiles. He is known to be hard to read, and he has executed former friends and former enemies alike, after assurances to the contrary. These qualities have left Sun sitting at the head of a vast bureaucratic pyramid and one of the most powerful men in China. So you'll see they are paternal autocrats under the Nanjing clique, because that is the city that he was originally based in, although you have these other political parties or cliques, various ones here, like the Yi Guangdao, which are, that's a religious movement, I think, the Angqing clique. So like, these are less political parties than representing interests, I guess you could say. But like you see, Chinese Syndicalist Party is 0. There are no Chinese Syndicalists or Totalists anywhere in China, to my knowledge. I think the furthest left that you can go is the Radical Socialist branch of the KMT, but all that stuff's going to be talked about later. Let's look at these national spirits here. So you've got a conspicuous kleptocracy, which I'll read the flavor first, then the effects. Late last decade, Sun Chuanfang opened vast swathes of eastern and southern China to exclusive German economic exploitation. So, I think I talked about this in another progress report, but yeah, there is a difference between the legation cities and the AOG, because the legation cities is more international, like the United States is in there, for example, whereas the AOG, it's only the German cities, but they're going to both be dotting the coast at the start of the game. Soldiers and officials at almost every level, many already predispositioned to corruption, have become complicit in everything from arms smuggling to the stolen antiquities trade. This reflects poorly on the League as a whole. So this is going to hurt war support by 5%. And none of these numbers are actually finalized, so I'm actually not going to go into them. But you're going to lose war support, stability, political power gain, and your division's recovery rate. There is Tsingtao collaboration, which is at medium. So these ones I will go over the numbers to show you how they shift. But again, I don't know if this is finalized. So this increases your civilian construction speed and infrastructure construction speed by 5%. And when the AOG is your target country, trade cost is reduced by 25%. The Special Interest League receives from Germany has many benefits, but the collaboration with Tsingtao also comes at a price, namely in the form of extensive concessions. These concessions are territorial, such as the coastal cities the AOG controls, but also legal and economic. So, economic aid limited, economic control limited, political control, military access. And then there is the Nanking Commission. The Nanking Commission, advising the League's leadership on behalf of Berlin, includes an officer corps intended to reorganize Chinese divisions along German lines. So far, they have seen some success in equipping and training the Marshal's personal divisions, as well as imparting the Weltkriegs lessons to their officers. So this is going to increase division organization, max planning, and planning speed. Then you've got the various generals that you have here, including your field marshal, Sun Chuanfang. A lot of old guard is here. There's Qian Tiaoyuan, who we've talked about, and Ji or Qi, Ji Yuan, who we've also talked about, but like these are mostly clique members that you see down here. All right, moving on. So the war is going to happen. The League of Eight Provinces is going to collapse, and Qi Ji Yuan will rule from Nanjing, and he's going to be at war with Chen Qiaoyuan, which is the Anqing clique here, as well as the Kuomintang, which are in the south. I talked about the circumstances of them breaking out in earlier videos. Liangguan and the Hunan clique are going to be completely independent, and as far as I know, he will not be at war with them. It's just going to be these two at first. Although, he will lose a significant amount of his industry and his resources. So now, of course, the goal here is for Qi to reunite the League. So this is him. At the Academy, Xi earned a reputation for short height, masterful calligraphy, and cunning. As a soldier, only one of these served him well, but it nonetheless capitulated him to prominence in eastern China, his rise only cut short by a combination of invasion and allied betrayal in late 1924. That's in reference to the Zhili-Fengtian War. For the next several years, Qi remained in exile, plotting his return, and in the aftermath of the Shanghai Conference, he secured German sponsorship, giving him leave to set up shop in the city of Wuxi. Sun Chuanfang tolerated his presence, perhaps feeling that enemies are best kept close, a feeling he may have since come to regret, because of course there's those rumors that he might have had Sun assassinated. But actually, coming back here, so it's a pretty bad position, because not only is Nanjing at war with two other cliques at the same time, but he's also split geographically. So as you can see, there's the northern Nanjing clique and the southern Nanjing clique. So that's going to be tough. In addition, the Qing up here, it's going to be up in the air who they support, because they might support him, but they might also support the Anqing clique. Also, the Anqing clique could potentially receive support from Japan and the Fengtian clique. Although the progress report does mention that if Japan helps them, then the Qing will probably help you, the player. Because obviously the Japanese and the Qing are at odds. So, whatever happens though, the Nanjing clique has more resources than the Kuomintang, who, remember, these are revolutionaries that have been defeated twice already and that have been staying in the mountains, so how strong could they be? I imagine that this is going to be one of the tougher nations to play. Anyway, so he's got more resources than both of them, more troops, so victory should be certainly attainable. Now, moving on. Here are some issues that he's going to be dealing with. He's going to have a crippled industry. General breakdown of order. Our economic and military industry has ground to a halt. Our production capabilities are severely diminished as entire supply lines have broken down. By the way, I forgot to mention I mentioned earlier there's like a Qing Empire faction, which they were a part of. Then there is questionable authority. Ji Shuiyuan claims he is Sun's rightful successor and has all rights to the title of League Marshal, but not everyone agrees. Many governors and local governments are skeptical of his authority. His rule also barely extends outside the range of his military garrisons, making his authority of the League outright questionable. And finally, rampant disorder, the rise of the anti-concessions movement, and the death of Sun Chuanfang have led to a new period of Hunshan, confused or chaotic fighting as general turns against general, soldier against soldier. The markets have collapsed, the police are overwhelmed, and chaos spreads in the streets as seemingly the whole of society turns against itself. A great deal of blood may be spilled before any semblance of peace returns to eastern China. So, combined, this is going to hurt division attrition, division organization. You're going to lose stability, war support, weekly stability, and also you're going to take hits to your production efficiency cap, factory output, and construction speed. Pretty rough stuff. But hopefully, if you're playing as him, you will unite the original 5 provinces again, and then you need to start consolidating. So, whereas Sun Chuanfang tried to create this illusion that it was like a moral and fair government, Qi is not going to be interested in any of that. He's going to use any means necessary to maintain the peace. And that's going to mean a lot of working with the Germans, because as far as he's concerned, he's surrounded by enemies. There's the government in Beijing, there's Japan, there's the warlords, these two clique states that broke off. Everybody's out to get him. And so this is not a time to be nice. Now he's going to have to use coercion, because you're going to still have, even after he defeats them, there's going to be Kuomintang agents as well as Yin Guandao adherents that are still causing trouble. Once there's peace, he can go for stability. Then this is the focus tree, which like right here, Qi rules Nanjing. You see things like suppressing student associations, enforcing control, getting guns from the Germans, enforcing loyalty. Over here, you've got the army stuff. So there's like a northern and a southern school of doctrine. So I'm guessing this is probably superior firepower, but it might be grand battle plan versus mass assault. Here's your army bonuses, and then more army bonuses, and then the navy and air are split over here. We don't know too much about these, but there's some nice focuses here. I like this one, and I like these three. Yeah, a lot of these look cool. Coming back over here, we have the government by coercion, which I was talking about before. I don't know if this is going to open up after the war or what, but I noticed there's some interesting things here. So for example, finish the Sun investigation. Remember, he is the one who a lot of people think Qi, that is. They think he's the one who may have been behind the assassination, so he's probably going to do some sort of investigation. Whether he did it or not, it's probably going to come out saying that he definitely didn't do it. Over here, you have the Tsingtao collaboration, lots of German aid here, so university expansions, reconstruction crews, things like that. Here's the eradicating the Kuomintang, cracking down on the Yingguangdou, getting more revenue, opening up the interior, getting some resources, lots and lots and lots of economic and social stuff here. Eventually coming down to 5 provinces, 1 marshal. Now, he's gonna also want to. No, where were we? Oh yeah. I'll show you that other screen in a minute. So he's gonna want to absorb the Hunan clique and the Yangguo clique, so he can recreate the 8 provinces. But after that, the League of 8 Provinces doesn't have anywhere obvious to go once things have restabilized and he's absorbed those other cliques. However, if tensions, and the reason for this is because Zhangwan Qi, the guy who's running the 8 provinces, he doesn't want to be a national leader. He just wants to maintain his status quo as League Marshal. But tensions can continue to rise between him and Beijing, and so it could possibly escalate into a war, although that's not necessarily going to happen. In fact, it's probably unlikely, because there's still the Japanese that they've got to deal with. The Japanese are right across the ocean, and the Fengtian government is to the north. But it is possible for war to happen between them, and if they take Beijing, then they become like the national government. They'll become China. There's also a possibility that some stuff can happen in the west, and then Qi might have to intervene. Let me see if I have another picture. Where's that picture? Yeah, so of course you remember you have the Sichuan clique and the Yunnan cliques out here, so there's definitely room for him to expand. It's just not obvious, to use the progress report's words. Now, in terms of the let's just take a look real quick here at some of the some later game national spirit. So you can see things get better: economic modernization, dishonest government. But actually, the dishonest government actually kind of helps. Commission, sponsorship, local development, coercive rule. Here's some Tsingtao government collaboration high. So in this case, you've got civilian and military and infrastructure is all getting done faster. So like infrastructure is up to a plus 20%, and civilian factories are up to a plus 20%. More resources are going to market. Civilian industry to target country is plus 5% for the AOG, and then it's minus 65% for the trade cost. Economic aid is very low. Economic control is low. Political control is very low. Now, the report says that this flexible relationship with the AOG is gonna be very dynamic, and it's not going to be reflected in focuses. Rather, it's going to be reflected in decisions and events. So that's how it's going to be modified over time. And so the player is going to have a lot of control in terms of how much control the AOG has in the League of 8 Provinces. But be warned that if you take it too far, The League might become a puppet of the AOG, which I want to, again, re-stress, is not what they are at the beginning. Like, yeah, there you have it. And, alright, only thing left to do is, they did say that there's going to be more events and decisions, but besides that, let's check what the top comment is. Top comment says, "That feeling, win China," by Sava61, who linked to this picture. And there you have it. So, thank you very much for joining me. I know that this was a long one, but I hope it was informative. My name is Conquering History Games, and I will see you in the next one. Subscribe, and goodbye.